I've collected via docs.microsoft.com. I've collected some features from project durations and compared. Is this available when we're using project for the web, the Power Apps? So means this functional comparison is made from the point of view of Dynamics project durations. If we would now make this comparison from the side of project for the web compared with Dynamics project durations, maybe a little different view or a little different answers. So other points would be listed as well for sure. But I think this way around, when we talk about the complexity and the site data, what we talk about project management is a pretty good way to start with. And we see some key areas. Let's talk not about every detail, but let's talk about the areas. We see here the first two areas, the sales and pricing and costing, is not existing finally. And in project operations itself, we have extensive features around that areas, like to have really here custom pricing dimensions, how the system should find the right price for a resource in a specific time frame. This is configurable and extendable to fit really your needs. We have out of the box, it's chosen from the differentiation from the which unit is the contracting unit, so which unit is holding the contract of the customer, and from which unit we are using the resources to deliver the project. This is, for example, is a pricing dimension, quite simple pricing dimension, but this is a pricing dimension. So it means price will change if I use, for example, a resource from Germany or from the US when the contract is made in the US, for example. This will have an effect. And in the same way, if we do so, we automatically have an inter-organizational sales handling by the system itself, which means if our contract is placed in the US and the resources are staffed from Germany, means US unit needs to buy the resources in Germany, and the Germany will charge their resources, the use of the resources to the US hub. This is automatically generated, this data, and can be reported and can hand over to finance, and it's pretty helpful if you have such structures inside of your company. The picture changed a little bit when we talk about project management capabilities. There, to talk about project stages, WBS, interactive Gantt or Kanban style boards. This is available in both types. So the same to go with the co-authoring or dependencies, constraints. This is project for web feature set. And as I mentioned, project for the web is part of Dynamics project operations. For sure, there are differences. So even if project for web is used in both situations, the feature set is not 100% the same. For example, how to calculate the percentage of completion of a task in project for the web without the functionalities of project operations. You just type in the number. Say, okay, this task is completed by 50%. In project operations, we have a calculation in background, which means how many of those time is already consumed by a resource. This will lead to calculate you to the completion of a task or of the project itself. You can modify that, you can change it, but the result, the percentage value is calculated. To add what we see in the last rows here, this is a lot of things are there in project operations out of the box. Those status KPIs to see the estimated value, how those costs and revenues are spread over the time, which month I will have which revenue and which cost, and what is the margin behind. This is again commercial aspects, which is my personal point of view in most projects pretty important to keep track of those changes of those aspects in the project. Even if we, for example, we planned a specific resource in the beginning and now this resource is not available and we need to, instead of a consultant, we need to staff and senior consultant. From a customer perspective, this is not a change which is related to customer needs. This is a change related to our own organization, which means we cannot charge more to the customer, but we have much more or much higher costs in our project, and this needs to be handled. We go to the next slide. It's more about the resource management, time and expense tracking, actual data, and invoicing. As you can see, most of those parts are not or only in a specific way available if we talk about project for the web itself. And project operations, as you can see and imagine, has a lot of features. Yes, now you can say, yeah, but then I have extreme complex tools. That's not the point. This can be simple as project for the web itself, for example. We decide what features we want to use and how they should look like. But we have the feature set for Microsoft backend to make it usable, to make it really to combine those points inside into the project to make them available, to keep them in track, to have them always in background and use them if needed. So the decision is yours finally, how complex it should be. And there, our recommendation is always as complex as needed, as simple as possible.